the spark of arrogance. The first attack didn't come with fanfare, no declarations of war, no orbital strikes to announce galactic dominance. It came with silence, and then screams. Overnight, the skies above Earth shimmered with strange auroras. In major cities, New York, Karachi, Tokyo, Nairobi, people looked up in awe. By the time scientists began to report the anomalies, it was too late. Across the globe, women vanished mid-step, mid-sentence, mid-sleep. Gone. Pulled through shimmering blue columns of light that left nothing behind but the echo of a scream and a cold vacuum of despair. 3 million women. Vanished. Governments scrambled. Satellites tracked the pulses to deep space, but the signal faded quickly. The world reeled in chaos, rage, and grief. Misinformation spread. Some claimed it was Earth's own technology gone wrong. Others whispered of an alien god judgment. But one truth spread faster than any lie. Someone had taken Earth's women. On a mountain base outside Islamabad, deep inside a command center known only to a handful of Earth's militaries, Captain Layla Sharif stared at the holographic briefing with tight fists and a clenched jaw. Her dark hair was tied in a strict bun, her eyes sharper than the blades she once carried into special ops missions. "Repeat that," she growled. The technician, pale and shaking, adjusted his headset. They bypassed orbital defenses. Their energy signature was foreign. It wasn't FDL or wormhole, something more advanced. They took exactly 3.2 million women. Selective, coordinated. No men, no children. Just women, ages 16 to 55. Layla didn't blink. What species? Unknown. But we intercepted a signal before the last pulse faded. He tapped a console, and a guttural voice echoed through the chamber, translated into crude English. "This is the dominion of the Galactic Empire. Earth has failed to observe submission. We have claimed your breeders as a lesson in compliance. Resist, and extinction follows." The room fell silent. Admiral Chun, the senior-most UN military liaison, broke the hush. "They think we're insects, that our women are property." Layla stood straighter, the fury in her chest now volcanic. "They made a mistake." Chun looked at her. "What mistake?" "They didn't take hostages. They declared war. Across the galaxy, within the cold metal corridors of the Imperial Dreadnought Dominatus, Dr. Emily Zhou opened her eyes. The room was clinical, sterile, filled with humming machines and blinking monitors. Her arms were strapped to a biodable, her skin pricked with sensors. Around her, other women lay restrained, some still unconscious, others crying or calling for loved ones. A tall insectoid alien walked past. A Lord Hack, one of the Galactic Empire's geneticist castes. It looked down at Emily as if she were a lab rat. She met its eyes and didn't flinch. "You made a mistake," she whispered. The translator implant they'd put in her spine relayed the words. The creature made a noise she guessed was laughter. "You will adapt. The Empire reshapes the inefficient." "I'm a neural engineer," she replied calmly. "I reshape systems. You locked me in one." Then she smiled. The alien moved on, unimpressed. But Emily's eyes were already scanning the room. The sensors, the ports, the way the machines synced to a central control hub. She noted every blinking sequence and every console rhythm. This wasn't a prison. This was a puzzle. And humans were very, very good at solving puzzles, especially when they were angry. Back on Earth, Layla gathered with commanders from across every continent. She spoke without preamble. "We're not waiting for diplomacy. We're not pleading. We're not offering them a chance to return our sisters. We hit them. We hurt them. We make sure the entire galaxy understands what happens when you touch Earth's women." A skeptical general raised a hand. "Captain, we don't even know where they took them. We don't have interstellar warships." Layla stepped forward and dropped a chip onto the war table. "That's where you're wrong. We've been reverse engineering alien tech from the Saturn wreckage for 10 years. Classified. I've personally overseen 2 prototype builds. And now we're going live." Eyes widened. She continued. "The Empire took scientists, soldiers, hackers, leaders. They didn't take civilians. They took the war itself into their own ship. But Captain, another general began. They took women like Emily Jo, like me, like the ones who lead, who fight, who adapt. Her voice hardened. The Empire thinks our women are weak. Pretty things to steal. They're about to find out they kidnapped 1 million apex predators. Silence fell again. Then Admiral Chin stood. What's your plan? Layla's answer was ice-cold and ironclad. Not rescue. Not survival. Retribution. In an orbit, somewhere beyond the Kuiper Belt, the ghost of a signal echoed back. One single word in Imperial binary, hijacked and rewritten by a captive on board the Dominatus. Run. You took the wrong ones. The interior of the Dominatus was a masterpiece of alien arrogance. Sleek, towering architecture, glowing with biocircuitry and humming with cold precision. The Galactic Empire's most advanced dreadnought had subdued dozens of worlds and enslaved billions. It had never hosted a rebellion. But today, rebellion bloomed in silence. Dr. Emily Jo sat in the sterilization chamber, hands cuffed behind her, her head bowed in submission, an act. In reality, she was listening, watching, thinking. Her neural implant, originally designed to interface with prototype Earth AI, was picking up residual pulses from the ship's control grid. The frequency was alien, but not indecipherable. It wasn't just the tech she was learning. It was the ship's rhythm, its pulse. Like learning the heartbeat of a beast before driving a knife into it. To her left, Major Sophia Martinez, a former U.S. Space Force pilot and combat engineer, whispered from her seat. Joe, how long until you can break it? Emily didn't lift her head. I've already broken it. I just need the right moment. Sophia grinned. Then let's give them one. All across the Dominatus, the women taken from Earth were no longer mourning. They were organizing. They had no weapons. They didn't need them. Meanwhile, above Earth's orbit, Layla Sharif stood aboard Tiamat, Earth's first deep space prototype warship. It was jagged, asymmetrical, clearly cobbled together from scavenged tech. But it worked. In her mind, it was beautiful. She stared at the holographic star map as Admiral Chun joined her on the bridge. You're really doing this? Chun asked, folding his arms. They're still alive. I know it, Layla said, and we're not letting them stay prisoners. Our intel says the Dominatus is headed toward the Empire's outpost on Gorgon V. It's defended by 3 armadas. Then we cut through them. Chun shook his head. Even with Tiamat, we don't have enough ships. Layla tapped the command panel. Dozens of icons lit up. Civilian vessels, drones, automated haulers converted into warships, old orbital junk retrofitted with propulsion and explosive cores. We do now, she said grimly. Every engineer, hacker, and mechanic on Earth has joined the cause. We're not a fleet. We're a firestorm. The Admiral raised an eyebrow. And who leads this armada of rage? Layla's eyes didn't move from the map. The women they left behind. Back aboard the Dominatus, Emily moved. Her neural interface connected with a diagnostic panel through subtle muscle twitches. The command code flickered once, then cracked, like cracking the shell of a long-dead god. The screen above her displayed a message in flashing alien runes. Control node accessed. Administrative override denied. Reattempting, she whispered under her breath. Override not denied. Just delayed. From a distant corridor, a door hissed open. One of the alien guards stumbled and fell, clutching its throat. Sophia had slipped past the watch points, wielding a makeshift weapon cobbled from medical instruments and tubing. More women rose. Some tackle guards. Some jammed magnetic fields. Some simply shouted, drawing attention while others moved in silence. In less than 15 minutes, chaos bloomed on the most secure dreadnought in the galaxy. Emily activated the ship's low-frequency communications band and sent a single pulse burst toward Earth, encoded, encrypted, hidden in noise. If Layla was out there, she'd see it. And on the bridge of the Tiamat, Layla did. She stepped forward, eyes sharp. That's Emily. She just unlocked a command port. Chun frowned. How can you be sure? Because she included a signature she knew I'd recognize. A Farsi proverb our team used on Mars. She pointed to the map. They've turned the ship against itself. We're not saving prisoners. We're reinforcing a mutiny. The Dominatus shook as internal systems began to fail. Lights flickered. The bridge commander barked orders in a panicked shriek, but every command was intercepted, looped, or redirected. In the engineering bay, women sealed off the blast doors and pumped out atmosphere to neutralize a containment squad. In the med deck, a biology professor from Lagos rerouted pain inhibitors to trigger sedation in every alien not tagged as human. Sophia and Emily reached the command hub. It was half destroyed already, alien bodies strewn across the floor. Emily placed her hands on the interface, her voice calm but electric with fury. "We're not your property. We're not your experiment." She looked around at her sisters, bloodied and breathless, yet unbroken. "We're your extinction." She overrode the navigation system and locked in new coordinates toward Earth's fleet. Back in Earth orbit, Layla smiled for the first time in days. The Dominatus was rerouting itself. "She's bringing it to us," she said. Shun leaned forward. "Then we prepare for a joint strike?" Layla shook her head. "No, we prepare to follow them in. Because once the Empire sees what's happening, they'll send everything to stop her. And we're going to be right behind her, armed to the teeth." From orbit above Gorgon V, an Empire admiral received the news in horror. "The Dominatus has been hijacked? By what?" The technician hesitated. "Humans, women." The admiral snarled. "Send the Crimson Armada. I want that ship destroyed." But they had no idea what was coming. Because the women of Earth weren't just fighting for freedom. They were fighting to make the Empire bleed. The Empire bleeds. The stars over Gorgon V were crowded with Imperial might. The Crimson Armada, 300 warships strong, orbited the fortress world like vultures waiting for a kill. At the center hovered a city-sized behemoth, the dreadnought Calvarius, commanded by High Admiral Vorik himself, a veteran of 1,000 planetary suppressions. He stared at the tactical screen with reptilian calm. "The Dominatus has been compromised," his second-in-command whispered. "But the Crimson Armada stands ready." Vorik bared his fangs. "They are women from a backwater planet. You will see, Commander, that this is not war. This is pest control. That arrogance would be the last gift the Empire ever gave him." Inside the Dominatus, Emily Jo braced herself as the dreadnought dropped out of warp near Gorgon V. She stood at the command interface, her skin slick with sweat and blood. Behind her, Sophia Martinez watched the scanners. "We've got 300 ships ahead," Sophia muttered. "All weapons hot." Emily didn't flinch. "They don't expect us to fight." A chorus of resistance echoed through the Dominatus. Women held makeshift control stations, armed jury-rigged weapons, and coordinated from a dozen stolen terminals. This was no longer an alien vessel. It was their ship now. Emily activated a channel. "This is Dr. Emily Jo of Earth, speaking to the so-called Crimson Armada. You are orbiting a stolen world, defending a slave fleet, and pointing weapons at your own dreadnought." She paused. "You've made 3 mistakes. First, you underestimated Earth. Second, you thought we'd ask for mercy." A sudden silence as the channel fed into every open Imperial frequency. "And third, you thought you were in control." The first shots didn't come from Earth's fleet. They came from the Dominatus. Its forward plasma batteries, rewired by a kidnapped software engineer from Bangalore, lit up the void. A blazing beam tore through 2 Imperial destroyers before the Armada could react. Within seconds, the Empire's fleet began to return fire. But something was wrong. Sophia grinned. "Our ECM suites feeding them ghosts." Half of the enemy fleet targeted phantoms projected by the Dominatus's hijacked comm systems. Missiles exploded in empty space. Lasers cut through nothing but light and lies. Then, from behind Gorgon's moon, Earth's fleet arrived. The Tiamat led the charge, followed by a ragtag fleet of converted mining vessels, stealth bombers, and AI-guided gunships. What they lacked in polish, they made up for in vicious precision. Layla Sharif's voice rang out through the comms. "This is Earth. You took our people. We're here to collect the cost." Her voice was ice and fire. Admiral Vorik's eyes went wide as the Dominatus veered into attack formation, side by side with Earth's warships. She's aligned with them? How? She's broadcasting Earth command codes through our fleet AI, one officer shouted. Vorik's claws dug into the console. Then we erase her from the stars. He launched a barrage of hypersonic torpedoes. But the Dominatus didn't try to outrun them. It simply vanished. Emily smirked. Did they really think we didn't see that coming? Her ship reappeared behind the Calvarius, having used a blind spot in the enemy's own sensor array. Layla's fleet was in perfect position. The counterstrike began. Gorgon V's sky turned into a funeral pyre. Earth's gunships dove into the Armada's core, hitting fuel arrays and reactors with surgical strikes. Women-led fighter teams, trained on Earth simulators just weeks ago, overwhelmed elite Imperial squadrons. The Empire expected terror. They got tactics. The Empire expected panic. They got fury. One by one, the Armada's ships lit up, cracked, and fell into the gravity well of Gorgon V, burning wreckage visible from the surface like dying stars. On the bridge of the Tiamat, Layla watched the battle unfold. Status of the Dominatus? She asked. Still intact. Minimal damage. Zhou's team is operating like a proper naval crew. Layla allowed herself a grim smile. Told you. They took the wrong ones. Back aboard the Dominatus, Emily reached into the command interface, now fully mapped and modified. She's firing up the main cannon, Sophia warned. Not yet, Emily whispered. We're not done sending messages. She patched into the Empire's central holonet. A galaxy-wide broadcast signal. A screen shimmered. Her face appeared across every Imperial world. To all peoples of the galaxy, this is Earth. Your Empire broke into our home and stole our people. They believed we were too small to fight, too backward to win. The stars behind her burned with the wreckage of the Armada. They called us weak. They stole our women. But we are not just survivors. Her voice dropped low. We are the storm. She cut the signal and fired. The main cannon of the Dominatus, rebuilt and reprogrammed, ignited. A focused singularity projectile slammed into the Calvarius. Admiral Vorik's final thought was not fear. It was confusion. Then his flagship imploded into silent, brilliant light. Gorgon V's defenses fell moments later. Surrender codes poured out from retreating ships. Those who didn't surrender were simply erased. The space around the planet was a graveyard of arrogance. The battle was over. Earth had won. But Layla, standing on the Tiamat's bridge, knew it wasn't finished. She stared into the stars beyond. They're going to send more, Chan said behind her. I hope they do, Layla answered. Because now they'll know. She looked toward the Dominatus, flying like a flag of defiance. Earth doesn't lose its daughters. Who they really are. The Galactic Empire was burning. It had ruled the stars for 10,000 years. It had crushed rebellions, subjugated planets, and rewritten the fate of entire civilizations with nothing more than a command. But it had never faced Earth, not really. Not united. Not enraged. Not led by its women. And now it faced extinction. The Empire's High Council convened in panic on Sulfur Prime, their homeworld, once seen as untouchable. Broadcasts from the Gorgon V massacre were sweeping across the galaxy. Imperial citizens watched in stunned silence as the Dominatus, once their greatest dreadnought, flew Earth's emblem beside a jury-rigged fleet of human vessels. The Empire's strongest fleet, the Crimson Armada, was gone. Its admiral dead. Its command fractured. And the worst part? The Empire's intelligence analysts confirmed it. Earth's women had done it. They're a threat to stability, hissed one counselor. They're savages, spat another. They'll plunge the entire galactic order into chaos. No, the High Lord of Council whispered, rising from his throne of obsidian. His voice trembled, not with anger, but with something older. Fear. They are not savages. They are reminders of what we tried to forget, of what we buried with conquest. We thought their species broken. Instead, we awakened something we cannot control. He looked toward the stars, and now they are coming. The Tiamat and the Dominatus entered Sulfur space 2 weeks later. No fleet met them. No defenses activated. Wasn't surrender, it was paralysis. On the bridge of the Tiamat, Captain Layla Sharif stood tall in her worn armor, arms crossed behind her back, staring at the dying red sun that bathed the Empire's capital in bloodlight. "We're not here to conquer," she said into the interstellar broadcast. "We're here to correct." Back on the Dominatus, Emily Zhou, now standing in full command of the once prison, watched the Imperial capital rotate below. "All channels open?" she asked. Sophia nodded. "They're listening. Every planet, every world, even the outer fringe colonies." Emily tapped the console, and a final message went live across the galaxy. "This is not a message of war. This is a reckoning. The Galactic Empire kidnapped over 3 million women from Earth. Scientists, soldiers, teachers, mothers. You thought we were weak. You thought we'd kneel. We took your war machines. We took your fleets. And now we leave you with a choice. Change or be erased." The screen shifted. Faces of Earth's women. Those who fought, resisted, and rebuilt. Soldiers like Layla. Engineers like Emily. Pilots like Sophia. And countless others. And then, the image of Aisha, the young girl rescued from the labs of the Dominatus. She stood in a simple dress, her hair braided, a defiant light in her eyes. "My name is Aisha," she said softly into the camera. "I'm 10 years old. You try to turn us into tools. You try to make us silent. But Earth taught us something." She held up a locket containing the picture of her mother, one of the millions taken. "We protect our own." On Sulfur Prime, riots began before the broadcast ended. Not in violence, but in awakening. Alien citizens questioned everything. Why the Empire had targeted Earth's women. Why it feared humanity so deeply. Some tried to defend the old ways. They were silenced, not by war, but by shame. The Empire didn't fall with an explosion. It fell with a decision. One by one, sectors began to disconnect from Imperial control. Planetary governors refused orders. Military captains resigned. The chain snapped not from pressure, but from principle. Because for the first time in generations, the galaxy had seen true power, not in cruelty or domination, but in fierce, relentless defense of what mattered. In Earth's orbit weeks later, the Dominatus floated peacefully, repainted in black and cobalt, its nameplate rewritten in bold Earth characters. NSS Matriarch. Inside its new command deck, Layla and Emily stood side by side. "We won," Emily said. Layla shook her head. "No, we taught them who we are. That's different." Emily looked at her. "Do you think they'll come back?" "They won't need to," Layla answered. "The galaxy will remember this for 1,000 years." A pause, because now they know exactly who we are. Epilogue. Centuries later, in a school on a distant colony once ruled by the Empire, children gather around a teacher. She speaks of an old war, of a planet once underestimated. "Earth," one boy asks. "Weren't they just a primitive world?" The teacher smiles. "There were many things, but never primitive." She pulls up a recording, the same one Aisha gave the galaxy, preserved through generations. The children sit silently as the message plays again. And in that silence, a lesson endures. Never touch Earth's women, or you will not survive to understand who they are.